This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. In addition to 3 male candidates from major parties, there will also be 2 independent female candidates, namely Brenda Harris Pinder for the United Coalition and Donna Dorset Major for the Coalition of Independents, both vying for the Baines and Grantstown seat. During Thursday's advanced polls at Sierra Walker Senior High School, both ladies were frustrated by the chaotic process that entrance to the polls. In this report, our Jcn Saunders speaks with Mrs. Harris Pinder of the Coalition of the United Coalition of Independents.
Like many other constituencies, Bain and Grantstown is expected to be hotly contested, and both Brenda Harris Pinder and Donna Dorset Major are confident that they can win as independents. In this report, we speak with Mrs. Harris Pinder, who says she has been working the ground since 2014 and believes she has earned enough support to pull off the victory.
I've been in Bain and Grantstown since 2014, and I have continued to work with many of the organizations such as the Bain and Grantstown Advancement Association. I work with Overseer Nen. I work with Lend a Hand Bahamas, the Feeding Network. I've been working with individuals within the community, helping on the down low, because I just want to make sure that persons, they have the support that's necessary. And so the campaign has been good. I told them that I will continue to be with Bain and Grantstown, and I mean that, and I'm here, and I've been here. That didn't change. And I know that with God's help, I will be victorious.
Asked if she was to win the Baines and Grantstown seat, what would be her agenda in the House of Assembly, she gave this answer.
In Bain and Grantstown, the infrastructure, that's a right of a citizen to have utilities. The unemployment rate, we want to change the unemployment rate, reduce that. We want to create business owners so that they would have a stake in their country. And we will do that through financial management, training, and education. And then I know there's been a lot of talk about natural resources. But what we will do is make an assessment as to what natural resources we have and then make a valuation of that, and so that we are able to look at those agreements and recall those agreements so that we are able to make sure that it's beneficial for the Bahamian people, and then look at setting up a proper sovereign wealth fund so that it's beneficial for the Bahamian people. So that's what I intend to do, really to fight for that cause and advocate for that in the House of Assembly.
Mrs. Harris Pinder says events at Thursday's advanced polls lends more evidence as to why there needs to be campaign finance reforms implemented going forward.
But when it comes to the campaign, it needs to be a campaign reform, because we need to know where the donation and the funding is coming for. And that's what happens when we have the minority interest because of those funders. And so we want to put that aside. And so what I would say is that campaign reform is something that we need to look into. And also a fixed election date, because I think so many of our millennials and other persons who would have loved to vote in this general election, they were disenfranchised because the Prime Minister said that he was not going to call the election until 2022. But he negated on that promise. And so that is something that we need to do, is to ensure that we have fixed election dates.
With just over 400 people that voted in the advanced polls for Baines and Grantstown, Mrs. Harris Pinder feels as though she is off to a good start in the race to win the constituency. Jcn Saunders for Jcn News.
In other news, 41 Haitian migrants sighted in southern Bahamas on Thursday are now in the custody of law enforcement. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force in a release says RBDF personnel attached to the Southern Command are currently assisting with security details after the group was apprehended in a joint operation with OPBAT, RBDF, and immigration officials. The 41 migrants were sighted on Little Inagua and subsequently transported to Matthewtown for further processing. RBDF officials say the officers and Marines attached to HMBS Matthewtown provided transportation to the police station and are providing security there. In crime news, 3 males and 1 female have been arrested for possession of unlicensed firearm yesterday here in the capital. Preliminary reports are that shortly before 10 a.m., officers from the operations unit were on routine mobile patrol on Penny Savings Bank Lane when they noticed the occupants of a Toyota Passo acting in a suspicious manner. The vehicle was stopped and a field search was conducted. During the search, one of the officers discovered a 9mm pistol containing 10 unfired rounds of ammunition. 3 males and a female were arrested and taken into custody. Investigations into this matter continue. Police also arrested a male suspect for possession of dangerous drugs yesterday. Reports are that sometime around 12:15, officers from the Bahamas Customs Department, while at Lynden Pindling International Airport, conducted a joint operation. During the exercise, the officers noticed a male who looked suspicious. The suspect, who was traveling from Panama, was approached and a field search was conducted. As the officers carried out the search, they discovered that the suspect had 2 clear plastic bags taped to his body. An inspection of these bags revealed a white powdery substance believed to be cocaine. The 28-year-old suspect was arrested and taken into custody. The weight of the drugs, 1 kilo, and has an estimated street value of $20,000. In other crime news, 5 males and 1 female arrested for a number of shop breaking, house breaking, and stealing over on Grand Bahama yesterday. Shortly after 1 p.m., a team of officers from the Predator Unit and from the 8 Mile Rock Police Station, armed with search warrants, acting on information, conducted a joint operation at 8 Mile Rock. Initial reports revealing that officers executed a number of search warrants where they arrested 3 adult males and 1 adult female of Jonestown 8 Mile Rock. Additionally, an adult male of Deadman's Reef and an adult male of Seagrape 8 Mile Rock were also arrested. Officers recovered a large amount of alcohol beverages and an assortment of electronics. Investigations into these matters continue. Stay with us. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.